A question I often get from friends, family, colleagues, and other people I know in general is how much money do you need to start investing? So today we're going to cover exactly that. How's it going, guys? Ryan here with another video today, and we're talking about how much money you need to start investing. But before we get into that, guys, please remember to like this video. It helps me out so much, especially with the YouTube algorithm, and subscribe for all the latest and greatest content on this channel. Now, also, please remember to leave below a comment on what you'd like to see coming out in the future and how much money you started off with when you started investing. So guys, without further ado, let's get straight into the video. And as I mentioned before, we're talking about how much money you need to start investing. And this is quite a dilemma for a lot of people because it involves actually setting money specifically aside to invest in the stock market. Typically, what a generic person's mindset is that they receive money and they either spend it on things they want or things they need, or they save it. They don't typically put money aside to start investing. So as a result, people have never really done it before, don't know what they need to make a decent return on their investments. So if we go back to a few years ago when I started investing in the stock market, my first investment was $500. And I thought at the time that this was absolutely huge, and I found out very quickly that that was not actually the case. I invested in a company at roughly 55 cents and it was $500. So as a result, when a fluctuation occurred, I didn't make too much money or I didn't lose too much money. And at the end of the day, if the stock doubled, I'd only make roughly $500. This wasn't typically happening at the time, and for me, as a result, I just sort of forgot about it. But let's say I was someone who wanted to trade the stock. And as a result, what you do is typically you'd sell it when it goes up maybe 10 or 20%. So if you're talking 10 or 20% of $500, you're talking $50 to $100 worth of profit at the time, right? So what I never considered was the brokerage fees. And what brokerage fees are, for those of you who don't know, is the commission that your broker takes whenever you make a transaction on the stock market. So for me, it was $20 when I bought the stock and $20 when I sold the stock. So if the stock had gone up, let's say 10%, and I want to sell it, I only make a $10 profit because they've taken the 20 from the start, the 20 from the sell, and then I'm only left with $10 after my $50 profit. As a result, I highly discourage anyone from investing around $500, $1,000. It's not really worth it unless you're wanting to learn. And for me, this is a big thing. If you're just wanting to learn the stock market, you don't want to put lots of risk onto your stock investing account, just put a small bit of money into it. $500 is fine, $1,000 is fine, because that gives you the leeway to be able to practice. If you make money, excellent. If you don't make money, then it's not too bad of a loss at the same time. Plus, you do have skin in the game, so it's unlike using programs online where you can practice your investing or your trading, your day trading, that sort of stuff. You've actually got real money in the game, and you'll either really make more or really lose the money at the same time. But when you're investing properly, you're not going to make any genuine gains from that amount. Now, this comes to what I think is an optimal amount of money. And for a lot of people, this isn't an easy figure to part with, especially from their savings account. And for me, the minimum I'd invest in a stock is roughly $2,500 to $5,000. And this is due to the fact that if the stock genuinely does move in value, then you're going to see some sort of a return. And for me, when I'm investing, I'm in something for the long term. So I'm not looking for 10, 20, 30%. I'm looking for 100%, 200%, double increments of the stock's original value. So I want to be making what a lot of people are calling bags, and bags of cash type thing, you know? And a bag is effectively every 100% profit that you make on your stock. So if you're looking at those sort of figures, then you can go, okay, 2.5 grand, I've made 100% on it, that's another 2.5 grand that I've made. That is a fantastic way to grow your investment account. And what a lot of people don't realize is you don't just have to go, okay, 2.5 grand, leave it, let it sit. What you should be doing is accumulating that stock over a period of time if you're confident in it. So, for example, let's say you put 2.5 grand into a stock at the start, then every couple of months you put an additional $500 into it. Over time, this is going to grow. And effectively what it does is gets you in the habit of, instead of putting more money in your savings account, you're effectively putting it into investments. So not only are you building good habits, you're also funding your investment account and building capital and increasing the potential for larger returns because you own more of that stock. So as a result, when it moves up, then as a result, you're going to make a larger profit. So for me, I wouldn't say starting off with a ginormous amount of money is necessarily the best way to go about it. I'd start off relatively small. 5 grand I'd say is probably the max you'd want to go. 2.5 to 5, that's probably the good range you want to be within. And for some people, this is quite out of reach. So as I mentioned before, what you could do is start accumulating stocks over time. So let's say you start with $500 or $1,000, then the next month you put in another $500, for instance, and you start accumulating over time. It's not something you have to just dump all your money into at once. You still want that safety net of your savings there. And for me, that is a big thing. I've got a figure left sitting in my bank account, in my savings, that is there as a safety net. And I've built that up over time. Anything that then generally exceeds that value, I'll put into my investment account, so it's not just sitting there. And I'll either invest in new stocks that I've researched and effectively fund new opportunities for myself, or I'll top up on shares which I believe are fantastic, that I've been holding for a long term, and they've dipped in value a bit, and I can see a genuine opportunity there. Now, one of the best things you can do when you're actually putting money into your account on a regular basis is putting it in and then letting it sit in there. You don't necessarily need to go out and buy stock immediately. What you want to be doing is waiting for those good opportunities. So let's say you're putting in $500 every month and you're researching, you can't find any good opportunities. That's fine. Let's say 4 months go by. You've then accumulated $2,000 in your investment account to chuck into the stock that you found to be one you think will be successful in the future going forward. And it is a larger sum of money than the initial $500 investment. So keep that in mind, guys. It's really subjective and comes down to your financial situation, how much money you want to invest in the stock market. But for someone who's beginning, I'd generally suggest keep it to either 5 grand or below. Typically these days, I'm investing in the 5-figure range, and that varies between sort of $10,000 to $50,000 typically, and then my stocks grow from that point onwards. And what you can start to do then is effectively remove the initial capital that you invested when you do start making profits, and then you're just playing around with the money that you've actually made, and you don't have as much risk as a result. So guys, I hope you did enjoy this video, and I hope you did find it useful. Let me know down below what you invested in your stock market account initially and what you guys think is an optimal amount of money to start investing with. Please remember to give this video a like, helps me out so much, and subscribe for all the latest content. And with that, guys, I hope you have an awesome day. See you next time. Cheers.